The silence in your life right now is not an accident, and the sudden, unexplained distance between you and the world you once knew is not a sign that you have failed. If you are listening to this, chances are you have reached a point where the phone has stopped ringing, the invitations have dried up, and the people you once called friends seem like distant memories from a different lifetime. You might feel as though you are standing in a vast, empty hall, shouting into the void and hearing only your own heartbeat in return. To the human ego, this feels like a catastrophe. It feels like rejection, like being forgotten, or like falling behind in a race that everyone else is winning. But to the soul and to the higher intelligence that governs your path, this is a sacred appointment. You are currently in what is known as the Great Isolation, a spiritual quarantine designed to protect your frequency and prepare you for a version of yourself that the world is not yet ready to see. The reason the universe has separated you from the crowd is quite simple, yet profoundly difficult to accept. You cannot go where you are going if you are still carrying the weight of where you have been. Most of our social structures, our friendships, and even our family dynamics are built on old versions of ourselves, versions that were desperate for approval, willing to shrink to fit in, and comfortable living in a state of compromise. When you begin to wake up, when your internal frequency starts to shift and climb, you become energetically incompatible with the environments you used to inhabit. The universe observes this friction and, in its infinite compassion, begins to pull you out of the social waters. It is a process of energetic sterilization. Think of a surgeon who must scrub their hands and enter a sterile room before performing a life-saving operation. They cannot bring the dust of the outside world into that space, or the surgery will fail. You are that patient, and you are also that surgeon. The life you are meant to build requires a level of purity, focus, and internal alignment that cannot be achieved while you are constantly reacting to the opinions, dramas, and low-vibrational static of the tribe. This isolation is the desert phase that every great leader, prophet, and chosen one throughout history has had to endure. It is the time spent in the wilderness where the old identity is stripped away, layer by painful layer. You are being forced to sit with yourself until you no longer find yourself boring or unbearable. You are being forced to listen to your own thoughts until you can distinguish between the voice of your ego and the voice of your intuition. For years, you may have used other people as a mirror to tell you who you were. If they liked you, you were good. If they praised you, you were successful. But in this period of separation, those mirrors have been taken away. The universe is asking you, who are you when there is no one there to watch? Who are you when there is no one to impress, no one to please, and no one to blame? This is the birth of true sovereignty. Most people live their entire lives as supporting characters in other people's dramas, never realizing they are the leads in their own. By separating you, the universe is handing you back your script. It is telling you that the stage is being cleared so that you can finally learn your lines. This period of being unfriended or excluded is actually the universe doing the hard work of unfollowing the people who would only hinder your growth. We often grieve the loss of these connections, but if we could see the energetic ledger of our lives, we would realize that many of the people we lost were actually anchors holding us in a harbor that was about to be hit by a storm. Their departure is not a loss, it is a clearance. It is a divine intervention that prevents you from being distracted by the very things you are meant to transcend. Furthermore, you must understand that as a chosen one, your light is becoming increasingly intense. As we discussed before, this light acts as a mirror for others. In this phase of your journey, Your energy has become so potent that it triggers immediate reactions in those who are still committed to their shadows. If the universe allowed you to stay in those old circles, you would spend all your energy defending your character, explaining your transformation, or trying to heal people who are not yet ready to be healed. You would be exhausted, and your light would eventually dim from the sheer weight of the collective resistance. Isolation is your sanctuary. It is a protective bubble where you can undergo your metamorphosis in peace. Think of the caterpillar inside the cocoon. If you were to cut open that cocoon to rescue the caterpillar from its loneliness, you would kill the butterfly. The struggle, the darkness, and the liquefaction of the old self are all necessary components of the transformation. You are currently in that liquid state. You are neither who you were nor who you are becoming. You are in the void, and while the void feels empty, it is actually pregnant with every possibility. This is where you learn the art of self-reliance. When you have no one to call, you learn to call on yourself. When you have no one to lean on, you learn to stand on your own 2 feet. This isn't about becoming cold or antisocial. It is about becoming spiritually robust. The universe is training you to be an oak tree in a world of grass. The grass grows in thick, crowded patches, leaning on each other for support, easily mowed down by the first sign of trouble. But the oak stands alone, its roots digging deep into the earth, drawing its strength from the hidden depths rather than the surface. It takes much longer for the oak to grow, and for a long time, it might look lonely compared to the lush green grass. But when the storms come, the oak is the only thing left standing. You are being trained for the storm. You are being trained to be a lighthouse, and a lighthouse is never built in the middle of a crowded city square. It is built on the edge of the cliffs, often in the most isolated and windswept places, because that is where the light is needed most. If you are feeling the sting of loneliness, I want you to shift your perspective and see it as divine privacy. You are being kept hidden because you are a high-value asset. In the world of intelligence, the most important secrets are kept under the highest security, away from the public eye. You are a secret that the universe is keeping until the timing is right. If you were to launch your new self too early, the vultures of the old world would pick you apart before you had the strength to fly. This isolation is your training ground for emotional mastery. It is here that you learn to observe your loneliness without becoming it. You learn to watch the waves of sadness or fear wash over you, knowing that you are the ocean and not the wave. You are being taught to find the kingdom within. Most of humanity is desperately searching for a home in the hearts of others, in the approval of their bosses, or in the validation of social media. They are homeless souls wandering from person to person, begging for a sense of belonging. The universe is forcing you to find that home inside yourself. It is forcing you to become your own best friend, your own mentor, and your own sanctuary. Once you find that internal home, you can never be made homeless again. No rejection can shatter you, no betrayal can ruin you, and no silence can scare you. You become unshakable. This is the goal of the silent war. This is the purpose of the isolation. It is to make you so whole within yourself that you no longer need anyone, which finally makes you ready to choose the right people. There is a massive difference between a relationship based on need and a relationship based on resonance. As long as you are afraid to be alone, you will continue to attract people who exploit that fear. You will accept breadcrumbs because you are afraid of the hunger. But once you have mastered the art of being alone, once you have feasted on the silence and found it to be delicious, You will never again settle for a connection that is beneath your frequency. You will wait for the eagles because you have lost the taste for the company of crows. This isolation is also a test of your faith. It is easy to believe you are chosen when everything is going well and the world is cheering for you. It is much harder to believe it when you are sitting in a quiet room on a Friday night with nothing but a book and your thoughts. The universe is asking, do you still trust the process when the evidence is invisible? Do you still believe in your mission when no one is there to clap for you? If you can maintain your light in the darkness of isolation, then you have proven that your light is not dependent on external fuel. You have found the eternal flame. This is also the period where your clutter is being cleared. We don't realize how much of our personality is actually just a collection of habits we picked up to please other people. We speak a certain way, dress a certain way, and even pursue certain goals just to fit the mold that society created for us. In isolation, that mold breaks. Without the pressure of the tribe, you start to discover what you actually like. You might find you enjoy different foods, different music, or different ways of spending your time. You are discovering your original signature. This is the frequency you were born with before the world told you who you were supposed to be. The isolation is a return to the source code. Do not be afraid of the unfriending that is happening in your life. The universe is simply cleaning the guest list for the next chapter of your life. Every person who leaves is making room for someone who is more aligned with your future. You are being moved from the survival band of human consciousness into the creation band. In the survival band, we compete, we huddle together for safety, and we fear the unknown. In the creation band, we collaborate, we stand in our power, and we welcome the unknown as a canvas for our manifestation. You cannot inhabit both bands at once. The transition requires a no man's land, a period of transit where you belong to neither world. That is where you are right now. You are in the hallway between two doors. The door behind you has locked, and the door in front of you has not yet opened. It is tempting to sit on the floor and cry about the locked door, but the wise soul uses this time in the hallway to stretch, to breathe, and to prepare for the room that lies ahead. You must also realize that the people who have left your life or distanced themselves are often doing so because they can no longer read your energy. You have become a foreign language to them. When you were living in the old frequency, you were predictable. They knew how to manipulate you, how to trigger you, and how to keep you in your place. But as you have grown, you have become opaque to them. They can no longer see their own reflection in you, and that scares them. Their departure is a sign that you are no longer hackable. You have upgraded your internal security system, and the old viruses can no longer find a way in. This is a cause for celebration, not for grief. You are also being protected from the energetic vampires who would seek to drain your newfound power. When you start to awaken, you become like a giant battery of light. To those who refuse to generate their own light, you look like a free meal. If the universe did not isolate you, you would be swarmed by people who want to consume your energy without ever doing the work to find their own. The isolation is a firewall. It keeps the parasites away while your system is still stabilizing. You are being given the gift of time. Time to study, time to meditate, time to heal your inner child, and time to build your craft. Many people pray for success, but they are not yet capacity built to handle it. If you were given your global platform or your great mission today, the pressure would crush you because your foundation is still being poured. This isolation is the curing process for your foundation. It needs time to set, to harden, and to become strong enough to support the skyscraper that is your destiny. Every day that you choose peace over desperation, every day that you choose your own company over a toxic distraction, you are adding another layer of steel to that foundation. You are also being taught the law of non-attachment. In the past, you might have been addicted to people. You might have felt that you couldn't breathe without someone's attention. The universe is curing you of that addiction. It is showing you that you are the source of your own oxygen. This is true freedom. When you no longer need anything from the world finally becomes yours to enjoy. You move from the position of a beggar to the position of a king or queen. A beggar is always looking at what they can get. A monarch is always looking at what they can give. But you cannot give from an empty cup. This isolation is the refilling of your cup. It is the restoration of your soul. Think of the great inventors, the great artists, and the great thinkers. Did they spend their time at every social gathering gossiping about the neighbors? No. They were in their laboratories, their studios, and their libraries. They were missing from the world so that they could eventually give the world something worth having. Your absence from the social scene is not a sign of your irrelevance. It is a sign of your significance. You are working on something major. Even if you don't know what it is yet, your soul knows. Your soul is directing this period of solitude because it knows that the ordinary life is no longer enough for you. You have been called to the extraordinary, and the path to the extraordinary is always a narrow, lonely trail. The highway is for the masses. The mountain path is for the pioneer. As you walk this path, you might feel the primal fear of the tribe. Evolutionarily, being cast out of the tribe meant death. Our brains are hardwired to see isolation as a threat to our survival. When you feel that anxiety in your chest, that fear of being left behind, recognize it for what it is, an ancient biological echo. It is not a spiritual truth. In the modern world, and especially in the spiritual realm, isolation is not where you die. It is where you are reborn. It is the womb of your new life. Tell your nervous system, we are safe. We are not being abandoned. We are being upgraded. The universe never leaves a vacuum. If it has removed old friends, it is because it is preparing to introduce you to your soul tribe. These are people who will not require you to wear a mask. They will not be intimidated by your light, and they will not compete with your success. They will be your mirrors of truth, your partners in purpose, and your family of the heart. But you cannot meet them while you are still clinging to the ghosts of your past. You must be willing to be empty for a while so that you can be filled with something better. This is the law of the empty cup. If you want new wine, you must first pour out the old, sour vinegar. The isolation is the pouring out. It is the cleaning of the vessel. Be patient with the process. The ego wants everything to happen now, but the soul understands divine timing. There are cycles to life, just as there are cycles to the seasons. You are currently in your winter. In winter, everything looks dead on the surface. The trees are bare, the ground is hard, and there is no sign of growth. But deep underground, in the silence and the dark, the roots are expanding. The energy is being conserved. The life force is preparing for the explosion of spring. If the tree tried to bloom in the middle of January, the frost would kill the blossoms. It must wait for the right temperature. You are waiting for your energetic spring. You are waiting for the moment when your internal frequency matches the external opportunity. Until then, your job is to stay in the light, to honor your silence, and to trust that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Do not look back at the people who have moved on without you. Do not check their social media to see how happy they are without you. Their journey is theirs, yours is yours. Comparison is the thief of peace, and in this phase, your peace is your most precious currency. Protect it fiercely. If someone chooses to walk away from you, let them go. They are fulfilling their role in your story by leaving. They are clearing the stage for the lead actors. Bless them for the time they spent with you, thank them for the lessons they taught you, and then turn your face back toward the sun. You are not a victim of your isolation. You are the master of it. You are the one who has been chosen to break the cycles, to heal the bloodlines, and to forge a new path. This work cannot be done in a crowd. It requires the precision of the solitude. It requires the depth of the silence. So, the next time you feel the weight of your loneliness, I want you to take a deep breath and realize that you are in the throne room of your own life. The universe has cleared the room so that you can finally take your seat. It has silenced the noise so that you can finally hear the whispers of your destiny. You are not alone. You are surrounded by the ancestors, the guides, and the higher forces that have been cheering you on for lifetimes. They are waiting for you to realize that you are the one you have been waiting for. The chosen one is not someone who is picked by others. It is someone who chooses themselves, even when no one else does. You are graduating from the need for external validation. You are becoming self-referencing. This is the highest state of human consciousness. It is the state where you are so grounded in your own truth that you could stand alone against the entire world and not flinch. And the irony is, once you reach that state, the world will stop fighting you and start following you. But you must be willing to walk the first few miles in silence. You must be willing to be the black sheep until you realize that the black sheep is actually the only one who is free. The rest of the flock is just following the one in front of them, heading toward a destination they didn't choose. You have stepped out of the line. You have broken the formation. You are now free to explore the entire mountain. Yes, it is lonelier, but the air is purer, the view is better, and the company, when it arrives, will be magnificent. Stay on the path. Stay in the silence. Stay in your power. Your isolation is the greatest gift you have ever been given. It is the forge that is turning your iron into steel. It is the cocoon that is turning your crawl into flight. Trust the separation. Trust the distance. Trust the silence. The world will see you when it is time, but for now, your only job is to see yourself. This is your time. This is your preparation. This is your sacred solitude. You are chosen, you are ready, and you are never, ever truly alone. The universe is holding you in the palm of its hand, hiding you from the world until the world is ready for the light you carry. Rest in that knowledge, breathe in that peace, and know that the best part of your journey is being written in the silence of this very moment. When you finally emerge from this phase, you will not be the same person who entered it. You will be stronger, wiser, and more radiant than you ever thought possible. You will look back on this period of isolation not as a time of sadness, but as the time when you finally found your soul. The silence is not empty. It is full of the answers you've been seeking. The loneliness is not a desert. It is a garden that is waiting for you to plant the seeds of your new life. Keep going. Keep growing. The dawn is closer than you think.